Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 10th episode of Sports Cards Live. It's a big one. This is the 10th show, and I can't really even believe that I'm already on episode 10. I've been having a blast with this so far, so thank you to all the guests that we've had so far. Thank you to everyone who's been watching. It's truly been an honor to do this, and I'm really loving the response has been excellent. Great feedback, so thanks, everybody. I want to thank Barrie Grice, owner of Leaf and In the Game, for joining me last Saturday. We had a great show. If you guys haven't seen that episode yet, go check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. It's archived there. Even have a little highlight video as well for you to check out, a shorter, about an 8 or 9 minute one. So check that out. Thanks again to Brian, who was an awesome guest, and look forward to having him back again. Don't forget, this Saturday, May 16th, the founder and CEO of COMC.com will be joining me, Tim Getch. Spoke to him today. He's excited for the show, and I'm looking forward to having him on. On Wednesday, the 20th, is a gentleman by the name of Stefan Perot. He's a younger guy. He's been building a business for himself. He's in his early 20s, and we're going to get a nice perspective from a younger collector, sort of proof that there are young people and kids that, I don't want to call them a kid, but younger people that are certainly in the hobby still. And then on the 23rd, next Saturday, is Brian Price, owner of President's Choice, former owner of In the Game Sports Cards, and has worked with a ton of other, with many other sports card companies also. I want to also point out, guys, that finally reached the 30-day mark. So I got the dedicated URL for the YouTube channel. So that's pretty awesome. Thanks for everybody. Thanks to everyone who subscribed. If you haven't yet, please do go subscribe. Really appreciate that. I'm now playing around with custom thumbnails. So don't mind my amateur art work, but I'm doing my best. I want to welcome back to the show my buddy Andy Greenham, who was lost in the world of the internet there, and we couldn't see his name. Andy's going to be back. So Andy, welcome back. Happy to have you. I also want to just bring this back. So a couple episodes ago, I showed you guys this stuff. This is the Meguiar's scratch cleaner upper. It cleans up your one touches. It cleans up your graded slabs. And since I did that, I've had a lot of people kind of messaging me saying, wow, thanks, that stuff's awesome. People have been showing it on their Instagram. So this stuff works, and it works well. It'll clean up your slabs that are scuffed and scratched up. So recommend it. Meguiar's Scratch X 2.0. It's like $15 on Amazon. Check it out. At the end of the episode, I've got another public service announcement, another little tip or a trick that I'm going to show you guys. So stay tuned for that. And lastly, before we bring out our guest tonight, Barrie Grice, I want to do a special shout out to a buddy of mine, a guy by the name of Adam, who I met at the National last year. And I want to draw your guys' attention to his podcast. If you like basketball and you like basketball cards, you guys want to check out his podcast. I'm going to bring up a quick image of it here. We'll make it bigger. That's his podcast. Go look for this logo wherever podcasts can be found. And you can even follow him on Instagram. Here you go on the ticker down there. Listen to the Basketball Card Podcast anywhere podcasts are found. And you can follow him on Instagram at TheReal27. Guy's got an amazing basketball collection. One of my favorite accounts to follow on Instagram. So be sure to check out Adam, his Instagram account, and his podcast. All right. That's it for the pre-stuff. So I'm going to bring up my guest now. Many of you know him. Many of you don't. His name is Barrie Grice. He's out of Colorado. Barrie is a guy that I met probably in the mid 2000s, 03, 04. We met sort of online on the Beckett boards, just internet, it's an online friendship. And then when Beckett went down and the hockey guys all migrated to Hobby Insider, while the basketball guys ended up at Freedom Cardboard, and the baseball, football guys, as far as I know, ended up at Sports Card Forum. And now it seems like most people are on Blowout, among some others, including HI. But anyway, I met him back then. And then we met for the first time in Chicago during the National, where we both managed to get invited by Upper Deck to go to the Cubs game. And so we met there. And I've known him ever since. So let's bring him out. Everybody, Barrie Grice. Barrie, welcome to Sports Cards Live. You are the guest on the 10th episode, so I'm happy to have you here. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Jack? Good to see you.
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's good to see you. Good to have you on the show. So usually we start out the show by saying, let's hear about kind of your start out in the hobby. We're going to get to that, but we're going to get to that later on. I want to start by talking about what's going on right now in the hobby. And you're a baseball guy. You do baseball, hockey, but I know you're a baseball guy. So right now, the state of the hobby is such that people are going crazy. Cards are going crazy. Basketball is a no-brainer. It's going crazy with The Last Dance and the way Jordan has led that. But I want you to talk a bit about baseball and what's going on with these cards, the Griffey, the Trout, the Canseco, all these cards, many of them which Brian Gray mentioned on Saturday on the last episode. But what's your take on what's going on with this right now?
I think the big thing is obviously the COVID-19 situation. So as I've been telling people, right now with cards, we don't have all the active sports we're accustomed to. Usually we have, right now, what do we have? Masters just wrapped up. Hockey playoffs are in full bore. We've got baseball, basketball playoffs. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on. We have none of that right now. So people are kind of, they're tailing off and they're gravitating towards things that, I guess you could say everything's on an even plane right now, right? LeBron's not playing and neither is Jordan, right? So Jordan's hot, man. Jordan's super hot with The Last Dance and all his buddies on the Bulls there. But, people are looking for other stuff to go to. One, we have the time because of the situation. We're home. A lot of us are home. But people are looking at guys that have finite ends to their career now, right? Because, again, there's no other sports falls. So I think people are kind of, as Brian Gray alluded to, he's buying what he mentioned, the 86 Jerry Rice Topps rookie. He's been buying it like crazy all day. Why not? I mean, Jerry Rice, he's done, right? He's in the Hall of Fame. His stats will never change. And that's something I've always told people about just retired guys in general. Like, everyone jumps on the Johnny come lately, the hottest rookie. And I get it, man. There's some good rookies. I mean, to use hockey as an example, look at Crosby, Ovechkin, McDavid. And we've seen some absolute generational guys come along. But that said, I mean, just personally, like I bought recently a PSA card of Eddie Murray, a 78 Topps. Eddie Murray, 500 home run club, 3,000 hit number. I mean, the guy, how many people can say they're in both in baseball? That's a seriously undervalued card. I got that. I got an 83 Topps Tony Gwynn, another guy, just an absolute legend, a machine.
But when you say you got these cards, did you get them at steals or have you seen them increase in value in the last couple of months along with all these other guys?
I mean, I'd say marginal increase on those. I mean, it just depends on the guy, right? Like, sure. I mean, it could be tomorrow those guys start rocketing up, right? People maybe someone heard this just now, like, man, he's right. And
yeah, you know what? The thing that really stuck out the most to me that you just said is that everybody's on the same playing field right now because there's nothing going on in sports. That's a factor that speaks to what's going on in the state of the hobby today that I hadn't really considered before. That Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, all the Magic, Bird, and all these baseball players that we were talking about, the Griffeys, the Jeters, the Gwynns, all the Cansecos, all these guys that were really important cards in the 80s. They're also still not playing, just like the current guys aren't playing, and maybe that's made this more of a level playing field during the virus situation. It's a theory. It's possible.
Right.
So, I just think that was a really interesting comment that you made.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, though. I mean, we're, again, used to looking at current guys, the latest and greatest, breaking all the current year products, chasing the next Bowman Chrome star and Topps baseball, right? I mean, we could talk about that with Mike Trout, but I just, now I'm looking more than I ever have. I'm like, wow, man, these guys, these stats, again, will never change. These guys have done stuff that a lot of these current guys won't ever do. But they won't get the love because they weren't in the the latest high-end release. They don't have an autograph or memorabilia swatch on their card, and quite frankly, social media in real time and the age we live in, we see Mike Trout, Crosby, these guys, LeBron, everywhere. They're in our face constantly. They're in our subconscious.
They're really a part of culture now, and we as people in these cultures and society, we identify with them. And, I don't want to say that we idolize them because I find that kind of weird, but we certainly, we like watching them. They give you hope if they're playing in your city. You want to get behind them. You want to see them win. They represent, in a way, I guess they represent us. And the way the hobby comes in my opinion, is when we own their cards, it's like, we have a piece of them to a degree, right?
Right. I mean, they're entertainers. I mean, to me, I'm not big into the new guys. My kids are, my sons love them all, like they love, like my oldest loves Mike Trout. My youngest likes Aaron Judge. They connect with them. For me, they're just entertainers. I'm like, I can appreciate them hitting a 500-foot home run, but I'm not into chasing their cards. I still love my guys from my era. And I think, to go back even further, that's why you see obscene amounts of money thrown at guys like Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth. One, their stuff is very scarce, mind you, relative to the new guys. But these guys that were around in their era, these guys are older, retired guys with deep pockets, and they want to chase their guys. So who are their guys? Mantle, DiMaggio, stuff like that. So it's all different. And there's guys that are in that age group that are chasing McDavid, Crosby, right? Because we're seeing those cards break what, $50K, the Cup rookies.
They can, yeah.
It's all what you like, right? Collect what you like.
Yeah, and I think what you said about the guys that are a bit older than us, guys in their maybe late 50s, 60s, early 70s, and up, if they're still collecting, they still remember those players and they still love those players. And then guys like us who never saw them play, but we respect and appreciate the history of all these sports, we want those cards too. But I don't think we want a lot of the second tier guys, or unless you're a completionist, you're really looking to get all the Hall of Famers, But I think guys like Mantle and Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth, they're never going to go away. But some of the second tier Hall of Famers, and that applies to all sports, will not necessarily go away, but their demand in the market will diminish as their fans start to, I hate to say, but die off over time, right? So the players that we're collecting now, which are players that we love back, especially guys from the 80s, 90s to today, we're driving the cost of that. Us and the people, all the hobbyists are driving those costs. And there's a comment that came up, like, how long is it sustainable for? And I often question, and I don't know the answer, but I often wonder, am I gonna are the cards of these older guys that I own, are they going to be desirable at the time that I'm going to pass away to people who are going to want to purchase them that might be 40 or 50 years younger than me? Are they going to want cards of guys from the the 1910s to the 1960s, let's say? Sure, they'll want the Gordie Howes, the Mickey Mantles, the Bobby Orrs, the Wilt Chamberlains, all that stuff. But are they going to want everybody else? I don't know. But have you, kind of off topic there, but in terms of the state of the hobby, have you seen anything like this in the last 20 years, like we're seeing right now?
No, it's really wild too, because we're in such a economic downturn for the most part. So many people laid off. The economy's really hurting, but people are just pumping crazy money into the hobby right now. It's I mean, for lack of a better term, it's ass backwards.
Yeah.
It defies logic, basic logic. And
that's why we look for the theories, right? Like you mentioned, the even playing field theory. Then there's the whole people are bored. What else are they spending their money on? They're not traveling. They may not be buying fancy items that are bigger and bulkier. So their cards are fun and easy, and it's connecting us all still to the sports that we are missing.
Right.
Listen, before we switch, we're going to stick on kind of today's part of the hobby. We're just going to go through a few quick comments here. Scotty's in the room. You guys will all notice I kind of changed the font to make it a little bit smaller. Scotty, welcome to the show. Brett, thank you, man. Having fun with that. I might need to pick your brain on a couple things. Andy's back in the show. Thanks, Andy. Irving's here. Irving, welcome to the show, buddy. Always good to have you. Eli's here. We got lots of people in the room, guys. It's awesome to have you all. Corey, welcome to the show, buddy. Here's one for you, Barry. Adam's loving the hat. 1984 Team USA.
Team
USA. That reminds me, is that the hat? Sorry, is that the hat that McGuire was wearing on his baseball card?
That's the one.
Right on, right on. Aaron's in the house. Yeah, welcome to another live show. Talk about cards. Awesome, awesome. Andy was asking, did you buy the Murray and Gwynn at auction or buy it now?
Buy it now.
Buy it now. There you go. There you go.
Actually, to be precise.
Here's Ralphie says there's still a lot of Hall of Fame players that are still at idle. And I think that's, you know what that says is that says opportunity to me.
Absolutely.
Right? I think that says opportunity. Andy's asking for a short list. I'm sure we can think of some of those guys, but maybe Ralph will reply directly. Stefan then made the comment, like, where do you see the sports card market in 10 years? Is the current market sustainable? You want to take a shot at that? Is the current market sustainable?
I mean, I'm just one man. I don't think it's sustainable like it. Well, okay. Let me rephrase that. I don't think it's sustainable for the players that are being bought right now. And I mentioned this the other day about Jordan, right? Everyone's riding that Jordan 86 flare. They're riding it into the stratosphere. I think it's going to settle back because I've seen that card peak before and I've seen it come back down, and there's a whole ebb and flow with that card.
Yeah.
The thing is with the Last Dance right now, it's and this is the great thing about sports cards. When you have a guy like Jordan, who's truly larger than life, an iconic figure in culture, he kind of transcends sports, right? Like he's Michael Jordan. Like even if you don't really watch basketball, like, oh man, you're wearing Jordans. He's got that Jumpman logo, so yeah. He's a transcendent guy. So that said, like I've seen people come in and grab Jordan stuff because they're like, it's Jordan, man, Jordan, right? And I think that's happening now. This docu-series is one of the greatest, docu-series that has ever been done. It's wildly popular and it plays in perfectly, right? We have no sports. We're thirsting for sports. And what do we have, man? One of the greatest athletes ever on full display, backstage, if you will, cursing and cussing. We're seeing a side of Jordan we've never seen him crying. It's terrific. So yeah, things are spiking accordingly. I think those will settle back down. But to answer the question, I think for the short term, these guys that are underappreciated will see a spike in value. But I think it'll kind of maintain because I think when we come out of this, now we're going to have this in the back of our mind. Can we have another pandemic? Can we have another situation where sports shut down? Maybe I don't want to put all my eggs into LeBron or Crosby, McDavid, Mike Trout. Maybe I want to appreciate some of these underappreciated guys. Sure. And I think you're going to see a rise in those graded and vintage card market, man. And good. Some of the people that are sitting on those really nice graded rookies, I know you love to do those from all sports. I mean, you're looking good, man. You're looking good. So
yeah, I agree. I agree. I want to go back to the Jordan card. So, you mentioned that you've seen it peak before. Like this card is selling this week for like $70,000 in PSA 10 USD, 70,000 US dollars, up from 20 within the last year. So if you could have bought them recently and done really well if you had the capital to invest. Sure. In terms of the current state of the market, can it sustain? You also kind of just tweaked another memory in my head or another thought is that, a lot of people are collecting the players that are hot right now. They're picking up these cards because they're seeing what's going on. And a lot of these are new. There's a lot of new money in the hobby, as we've learned and on the last episode of Sports Cards Live from Barrie Grice, who basically said he's spoken to people that are bringing a lot of new money into the show. Okay, great. A lot of these people, though, they're going to get their Jordan, they're going to get their Trout, they're going to get their Griffey, their Jeter, their Crosby, their Gretzky, all the key cards. And then I think they're going to start looking elsewhere. And that is why we may see more of these, not even necessarily second tier, but the 1A kind of tier Hall of Famers. And it ties into Brett's question here where he says, will people discover more of these other less desirable Hall of Famers? And Marcel Dion, who is like the third all-time leading scorer in NHL history, comes to mind as a guy who gets no hobby love. And it's true, he doesn't get any hobby love. But people who collect the Hall of Fame registry on the PSA registry, or people who want all the Hall of Famers, they need that card. Right. Number one, it's a beautiful card. The 71, 72 O-Pee-Chee and Topps cards are absolutely a beautiful set.
Yes.
And he's worthy of almost all collections where you have a Hall of Fame focus. So I can see that kind of happening where people might become more and more into some of these other players. There's a hello here from Richard Ho. Hey, Jer. Hey, Bear. Richard, welcome to the show. Glad to have you. Let's see what Corey's comment is. You've got people with lots of money looking for high interest investments. Banks are offering next to zero. Why not put it in cards? And also, the stock market's a little volatile right now. So it's, I think sports are the one thing that everybody loves all the time. It's easy to not love a stock or a company, you know? So I can definitely see that. Comment by someone we don't know. Anonymous comment. One closed at $96,000 in Heritage last week. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. All right. Listen, let's move on now. So there's a whole kind of new trend going on in the hobby, these online exclusive type of offerings. So, you know, I remember back in the early 2000s, Topps started with this eTopps concept, and I was all in with it. They called them the IPOs, the initial
player offerings.
Player offering was it? Yeah. And I remember every week I'd wait to see who it was, and I'd buy them. And I still to this day have every hockey eTopps card ever made. I think they did it for 3 years, you know, and then I kind of lost touch with the online stuff. And now we're seeing a couple of new projects, or one in particular by Topps, which I'm personally really enjoying. And I don't know if a lot of our viewers are even familiar with it, but it's called Topps Project 2020. I know you're familiar with it. Why don't you tell us, why don't you explain to the viewers, what is Topps Project 2020?
Yeah, so Topps Project 2020 is another one of Topps online offerings, and it's basically it's 20 iconic card, and I think that's why I think that's why they have the 2020, you know, 2020 20 cards, and they have 20 artists redesigning these cards. And so there's going to be a set of, you know, 400 cards when you're all all done. And so each release is 2 cards every 48 hours, and there is a silver artist proof that's limited to 20. Those are $200 a pop, and then there's the regular card, which is $19.99, and the print run is whatever, you know, it is after 48 hours, whatever they sell. And then mixed in with that is a gold frame 1 of 1. So someone lucky is going to get one of those randomly in lieu of their regular card.
Very cool.
So this thing kind of started out a little slowly. I saw some of the online stuff, people talking about it, saying, oh, those are ugly and they're terrible. It's just another cash grab by Topps. But the hybrid of sports cards and art, it's taken off. So to use the best example from the set, the first Mike Trout, they're doing his 2011 Topps update, obviously one of the hottest baseball cards ever produced.
Yeah.
They did a Mike Trout, the first one. It was a print run of 2,900 or so, and people were kind of behind the ball on it. And then this thing picked up steam like other things, and everyone's like, oh, I'm in, I got to have them all. Well, the next Trout had like 13,000 print run, and the third one had 35,000, the highest print run they've ever had on a card for Topps now, or one of their online programs.
Let me jump in for a quick sec here, Barry. So I know it's a 400 card set, 20 artists, 20 cards. So each artist is going to do each of the 20 cards.
Right.
And right now, I looked at the site today. I think they're at like card 67 or 68. So there's still a ways to go. This thing's going to go for a few months still.
Yeah.
And some of these, you know, you made the comment that a lot of you saw a lot of stuff online that these are ugly and and I saw the same thing. These are ugly. What a joke. My 7-year-old could have painted this or drawn this. But, you know, the fact of the matter is these artists have, and I researched it a little bit a couple of days ago. A lot of these artists have like over 100,000 followers on Instagram. So now what these guys are doing is they're showing off their card that is being released by Topps on their online platform. And 100,000 people are seeing these baseball cards. And these 100,000 people, they don't collect baseball cards. They collect art. They follow this artist. So it's only natural that they're going to now say, oh, I've heard of Mike Trout, or, oh, I've heard of, any other player in the set, Mickey Mantle, Roberto Clemente, all these guys, they've Sandy Koufax, they've heard of that player. They love this artist. It's only natural that they're going to go purchase the card. And I think that there's potential, therefore, for these people to then expand their searches and perhaps become card collectors. Now, I'm not saying every art collector in the world is going to become a card collector.
Right.
But I'm definitely saying that some of them will. It's a numbers game. It's just a numbers game. Some of them will become card collectors.
So I'll just show this one off, this Trout.
Sure. Yeah, let's see one of these.
So this Trout, This was the first trout produced, and you could buy that online.
Keep it up there.
Keep it up.
Keep it up. Let's keep it up there because it's pretty cool. It's a cool looking card. It's a little cartoony. Tilt the top. There you go. Hold it right there. So it's almost like an art card, but it's got some motion to it. Very stylistic, very original. And you look at it, you think it could be a little cartoony. I could see why some people might not like it, but the fact of the matter is, the artist that drew this has a humongous following.
Absolutely. And while we're at, here's another one.
Oh, see, totally different. Totally different. So to answer the question that was asked below, if you actually get to take ownership of these, Andy asked, these are physical cards that they will mail to you or virtual? No, these are physical cards, Andy, that they will mail to you. So yeah, and they're pretty cool. And Barry, I mean, you probably know as well as I do, but that first trout that you showed, I think that's is that the Ermsey? The artist is Ermsey?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so that card, you could buy that in the first 48 hours for $19.99. That card in less than a month time is now clearing $500 almost every copy. Insane. You could have literally had it for $19.99, just
like a month ago.
Yeah. No, you can't have it for under 500.
Yeah. It's gone pretty crazy. So what I love about this initiative that Topps is doing is that it's exposing us card collectors to art and to these artists that I never had heard of before. King Saladin. I mean, I don't know who King Saladin is, but he's got some beautiful, beautiful cards.
Yeah, I like he's got that kind of urban look to his art. And that's the thing. They all have a thing unique to him. I believe his name's Matt Taylor. He's one of the artists. I like his stuff. It reminds me of the 80s, man. It's got kind of a fluorescent, retro vibe.
Right. So you can actually... Sorry, Matt. You can actually go to their web. You can Google Topps Project 2020. It'll show you what's for sale, and then at the bottom there's like an archive, and they'll show you all the cards that have been made so far. Or just go on eBay and see what people are selling. Just Google, just in eBay, search for Topps Project 2020, and you will see what all is available. There's Don Mattingly. There's Tony Gwynn. There's
Jeter.
Yeah.
Clemente, Gwynn. There's 20 of them. Yeah,
there's 20 of them.
They have the on Topps.com, and they also have the finite print runs there, which is great. So then you can kind of decide, if you want to go after something or what you might have to pay for something, because the lower print runs are going to cost you. And some artists are more popular. Like, I actually just made a conscious decision recently. I'm like, I'm not going to buy this whole set because some of the cards I just don't dig them. But some of the artists I like. So I've decided I'm going to chase a couple of the artists specifically and put the sets together of their cards. So
yeah. And I think that's what a lot of these artists, their fans are going to be doing. They're going to say, hey, I don't care about these other artists, or I'm fans of 3 of the 20. I'm going to buy all of their cards. And then those particular copies are probably going to disappear from the hobby in terms of being made available, because these people are collectors of an artist. They don't necessarily care about Topps or Mike Trout as much as they care about that artist. And then they're finding this way to cross over to both sort of niches.
Right. And then you have the player collectors. That's going to be the other part of it. And they're going to snap them up. So it's going to be, these things are going to be pretty legit.
Right. Then there's all of us card collectors who like them. At first I saw them and I was like, okay, I got other things to put my money into. So I didn't buy any. And I regret it now, because that was like 3 weeks ago, and now those cards have gone up crazy. And it's like I would have been way ahead had I bought them, and now they're out of reach. But I will admit, I have gone on the Topps website and I've bought about 6 cards already. The last 6 they put out, I put in orders for, because I think they look cool. There's something different. As a card collector, a hobbyist, I appreciate the difference. We're going to step back a couple minutes here to this comment by Eli. Still lots of meat on the bone with Yzerman and Lemieux high grade rookies. And by high grade, I'm assuming he means 9s and 10s, but even 8s. Brian Gray made it very clear last week that there's room at 8s for a lot of cards, whether it's PSA, BGS, SGC, any of that kind of thing. So I agree with that. Here's another comment Troy made. This is a good one. I've noticed this too, Troy. Barry, have you noticed this? The 91 Upper Deck Jordan baseball card. I mean, that card was a $5 card. They're going for $400 in PSA 10 now. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing raw. I don't really look at raw card prices too much, but the card's gone pretty crazy lately.
Yeah, I know that one because my sons being baseball fans, my oldest is like, oh, you got to get me a Jordan, baseball rookie, like a nice one. I'm like, all right, I'll pop around eBay. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah, you'll find one. You'll probably find a raw copy for under $20. Put it in a nice one touch, and you're set to go. Yeah. Brett says he loves the concept. They seem to have taken on a life of their own. I agree. They've totally taken on a life of their own. I also recommend to everyone out there, if you want to go list, actually, this is really cool. So I've talked about before on the show, another one of my sort of basketball friends, online content, the House of Jordans. So the House of Jordans is an awesome YouTube show and podcast, and it's a 3-person show, 3 hosts basically, and one of the co-hosts, Christina, she now has a spinoff. So their YouTube show now has a spinoff called Christina's Corner. So you can search on YouTube for Christina's Corner, House of Jordans, you'll find it. And she's actually interviewed, I think now 2 artists from Project 2020. I believe she just reached out to them on Instagram and said, hey, love what you're doing, love your cards, love your art. Can I get an interview? So she's interviewed, I think, 2 of these guys. So if anyone's really interested in kind of diving deep in this product, which I'm kind of doing now, check out Christina's Corner on YouTube, and always check out House of Jordans. Those guys are awesome. They get really analytical. So I recommend them 100%. But go, you can see actually interviews with these artists, and that will, just like we feel connection to the athletes, now you can have a connection to the artists behind it as well, which I think just by seeing them talk and their mannerisms and who they are, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Ricky, welcome to the room, buddy. Welcome to the show. Sorry, Barry, you were saying.
No, I was just going to say, people say, oh man, you lucked out on that trout. Well, I really just bought it by default because, again, my oldest, he collects trout. So he wants to, so we've all, everyone in the house has their interests. He wants all the trout cards, right? I want a couple certain artists. And my youngest, he's like, he's funny. I'll take them all. They're all cool, Dad.
They are, and they're doing, I mean, I know you're a Mets fan. They're doing Dwight Gooden, and he played for the Mets. So there's another one that you could pick up, right?
Yeah. I've been definitely dialed in on Doc. Yep.
So here's a comment from my buddy Kyle Beaker. This is a bit long. This is similar to what happened with the low prints in Topps Living Set. If you're familiar with it, some of the Living Set short prints under 4,000 copies were fetching over $500 in the initial months. Kyle, awesome point, because I actually have the Topps Living Set on our list of things to just at least touch on tonight, Barry, because I know that you're a baseball card collector, so you're familiar with the Topps Live program as well as the Topps Now program. Any just sort of really quickly, any bits of information for the people watching out there on those 2 programs, maybe what they are, what sets them apart? But
the Living Set is based on the 1953 Topps baseball design. It's one of the most classic designs. If you've seen any of the cards, you'll know.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, and that's one of my biggest things about getting Topps back into hockey. Being a huge hockey guy too, their designs are just unparalleled. Topps Heritage, I know, you love that, man.
I love Topps Heritage.
Topps Heritage and Allen and Ginter, those are my 2 favorite sets every year in any sport.
Yeah,
I love them. I love them all day long. And again, just to bring Mike Trout into play, because he's the X factor. There's his Topps Heritage. It was his throwback uniform. They have these different variation cards. They're unannounced short prints, and they do different things. They do like nicknames, or they'll put a different hat on the player, just some little tweak to the card. Well, the Topps Heritage 2020 Trout with the retro uniform, throwback Angels uniform, that thing was clearing almost $2,000 for a parallel.
Wow.
For a parallel. I mean, that's another example of cards just bonkers money, man. I mean, sure, it's a super short print. There's nothing special about it. It's just a picture, cardboard stock, matte stock, no UV coating, no autograph, no memorabilia, no serial number, $2,000. I don't know, man. You tell me. I lost audio.
Oh, my bad. Here I am. Sorry. Yeah. It's interesting that these, that so much money is being thrown at these cards, and I think a lot of it has to do with the scarcity. It's the player depicted, and the scarcity. And I think a lot of people are moving away from the thicker cards that were all the rage in the, from 2002 to 3 up until right now, pretty much. I think a lot of people are really enjoying the regular 35-point cards and that sort of thing. But that's a whole other discussion. Ralph says when you were showing the Trout card, the Samurai Bat Swing. Yeah, I mean, that card grew on me. I'll definitely admit it grew on me. Aaron says they look incredible and the art market is massive. Great combo. I mean, he's right. The art market is massive, and these 20 guys between them, guys and girls, I'll say there are female artists in the Tops 2020 Project 2020 collection of artists as well. They between them, they probably have a couple million followers on their social.
That's wild,
and they're all being exposed to cards right now. So Brian Gray last Saturday made the comment that this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just the beginning. And when I thought about that, and then I thought after the show, I thought about Project 2020 and how many people it's exposing to our hobby. I started to think, you know what? Brian might be right for, among other reasons, the reason that we are being exposed to all these people who may not be thinking about sports cards top of mind. And now they're going to be thinking about it because it's in front of them, and cards are awesome. They're small, they're easy to ship, easy to receive, easy to store. They don't take up a lot of room. You can have 1,000 of them, and someone might not even know they're in your house because they don't take up a lot of room, and they have value. Like I mean, hey, this is a sports card show. I love cards, so I mean, I'm obviously going to see all the great reasons for that. But what is this comment from Brett? He thinks it will create more investors than collectors. I can't, that's an interesting comment. I didn't think of that. It could create more investors than collectors. I wonder if it's going to bring in more collectors than investors, though. And then maybe that change will happen where, we're bringing in collectors of art. I don't know what he's thinking in terms of where the investors are coming from. Brett, if you have a quick answer to that or a quick to expound on, I'm really curious so I can get my head around that a little bit further. Sam, welcome to the show again. Great to have you. Okay, listen, we are almost at the end of comments. I'll run through the last 3 and then we'll move on. Marvel sketch concept. This Tops is bringing both sides of the fence attached to bring them on the sports side as well. Okay, I think basically saying, we're appealing to 2 different markets, 2 different groups of people out there, and you're going to have crossover, which is something that the hobby, I think, needs. We always need. We want growth, right? We always want growth in this hobby. And I like what Tops is doing for that in terms of what they're doing. There are other companies out there doing their own things, being Panini and Upper Deck. We're focusing kind of on the baseball piece, so we can talk about those a little bit later.
Yeah.
Aaron says it'd be great if they do something with hockey. I don't know that they have the license for that. And then the Trout card shows us the power of set collector versus player collector. Good point, right? The player collectors are buying that thing up. And I think you can buy them in bulk. So you're not limited to 1 per person, which is probably where some people are maybe buying 100 of them or so type of thing. So, all right. Welcome to the show, Rod. I see you out there. Good to have you, buddy. All right. So we've kind of talked about the state of the hobby. We've talked about Tops Now, Project 2020. We talked the other day about COMC, and my guest on Saturday is the founder and CEO, Tim Getch.
Yeah.
How do we talk about COMC? How have you been during this whole COVID-19 virus crisis, the social distancing, practicing social distancing?
Yeah.
How does that for you tie into COMC?
I mean, for me, it's been tremendous. Well, I shouldn't say for me personally. I should say for my sons. They, their collections have grown exponentially because of COMC. They've been able to just, go on there and just buy hordes of cards, right? That they don't have, or maybe they didn't even know existed. Like, we're just typing their guys in and filtering it either by years or, price range. We do lowest price range, right? I mean, which is a smart thing to do, right? You can fill your collection. I mean, why would you pay more for the card, right?
Yeah, save some money. Why not?
Yeah. So, we've been doing that. And I mean, I've bought, I think I bought like 300-400 cards for them from COMC in the past, a couple months since this all hit. And it's been great because, they're bored, man. They're stuck home. And both my sons have they have asthma, so they're a little more high risk. So yeah, we're going to protect them, obviously, but we want to keep them happy too, man. I mean, they're kids, right? They want to go out. They understand what's going on. They're both old enough to understand that something serious is going on. They know about germs because I'm a paramedic. So, I mean, they know. So, but yeah, it's been awesome, man. COMC is they're doing great things over there. I've always enjoyed the platform for the reasons I just stated. I mean, COVID aside, it's awesome. I mean, where else can you go and find a catalog of like almost every card conceivable under the sun? I mean, one-on-ones and some of the higher stuff aside, but just it's bonkers, man. It's such a great concept. It's one of the greatest things that's happened to our hobby, really.
Yeah, and you know what? It also provides another option from eBay, right? I mean, let's face it, eBay is to me is the truest, livest market there is in the hobby. I know that there's so many transactions that go on off eBay, private deals all the time. So many other auction companies out there that are doing cards, but nobody runs through as many cards per day as eBay does. And now COMC, in my opinion, and I've been a member, a user, a seller, a buyer on COMC since 2013. So I'm a big fan. I have been forever. And I've seen them evolve and grow and how things have changed. And on Saturday, Tim will come on and I'm sure he'll be able to answer a lot of questions and talk a lot about it and maybe even explain reasons for some of the changes they've made over time as they've grown, which I think will be really interesting. But right now, everyone's stuck inside. Kids are stuck inside. And COMC just provides another option from eBay where you actually buy the card right then and there. You don't have to wait for the auction to end. And they're basically buy it nows. You can make an offer and get countered and eventually buy the card. But there's a lot of cards on there that you might not see on eBay because they're too cheap for eBay because people won't pay the shipping on a card. So you go on COMC and buy cards for 25, 27 cents up to whatever, in the, under a lot of cards under $5, fill out your sets. I think we're seeing a lot of people right now filling sets because they're bored, right? They're at home. So what a great time to go fill sets. Have you guys been filling any sets? Has that been an approach?
We've not only filled sets, we've actually built sets.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My youngest, he collects Aaron Judge. We did the entire 30-card Walmart exclusive Rookie of the Year, Topps Walmart hybrid Rookie of the Year set of Aaron Judge from COMC. We did that one. We did a few Mickey Mantle sets for my older son. He collects Mantle, he collects Yankees. We did some Derek Jeter sets. All these cool player specific 10, 20, 30 card sets. We built them just on there. It was awesome, man. I mean, can you imagine before that what that would have cost me on eBay to get 30 cards with shipping? Even if some of them are free shipping, let's say half of them, I'm still looking at what, $45 in shipping? Just
right.
US?
Yeah. Man. So you know what? we're going to go to some comments because I think they're kind of on point and timely right now. So we don't have to come back to a past topic, which I have a tendency of doing on the show. But so first of all, back to Brett. He says, I think there will be a lot of new people coming in who will be looking at the resale value versus collectability. Well, sure. And fair enough. Come on in. The more people that are being exposed, the better. So, but thanks, Brett, for clarifying that. I appreciate it. Aaron says, I think it depends. It depends on the collector. Some are art collectors will keep it and some will be about the resale value, bit of both. Yeah, I agree. For you, Barry, Scotty says he loves the ore picture in the background. Why don't you show people, just move your head out of the way.
Oh yeah. So that is one of my most treasured things. You can't see what it says, but it kind of ties into, we'll probably talk about the Father of the Year thing, being a dad. It's actually signed to me. It says, to Barry, thank you for being a great father to Austin and Blake, and thank you for being my fan, Bobby Orr. It's just an incredible.
That might be one of the best inscriptions I've ever heard. So congratulations on the piece. It is really cool, and I'm glad that it was noticed on the show and we could actually speak about it. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I love that. I look at it every day, and I love Bobby Orr, who doesn't. Love that moment, who doesn't. And
of course, yeah.
But I love my sons more than anything, and I have Bobby Orr recognize that. And I can't even.
So Scott also says COMC has been great for him as a seller over the last 2 months. And Scott, I think that probably speaks to people filling in sets and just, browsing online. When you're bored and you're done watching Netflix, maybe you're doing this. When you're done watching Sports Cards Live, maybe you're going to COMC,
Sure.
Amit, hey buddy, how are you? COMC is the cat's meow. I know for a fact that Amit has one of the biggest portfolios on COMC. So if he wants to share what it's called, Amit, please throw it up and I'll put it on the screen for people and they can go check out your COMC account. Andy says he struggles with their shipping prices. Maybe it's better now. Andy, you know what? We'll talk about that on Saturday with Tim, the founder and CEO. I do remember back in the day, early COMC, you could build up 100 cards in your account and they would ship them to you for $3. And I wondered, how are they surviving on that? I mean, just the time to pick those out of inventory has to be worth much more than $3 in labor. So I didn't ever understand that. And when they raised the price, I also thought it's probably a good thing they're raising the price because it's going to help them sustain more long-term. So that's just a comment on the shipping. Brett says he likes it. What one aspect would you like to see improved on that platform? That's a great question, Brett. And, for the answers that come up, I'll see if there's been any more in the comments, but these are things that I'll try to remember to bring up with Tim on Saturday. Barrie, is there one thing that you think you'd like to see improved on the platform?
Man, I can't really complain about it. I mean, it's been really great for what we've used it for and the times we've used it. So I can't really.
No,
I don't have any beef.
Really. I like it too.
I'm sure if I thought about it a little more.
They basically offer so many different ways of searching that eBay just can't do or doesn't do. So I recommend if you're new to COMC and you're going to check it out, have a look at the way they have their left-hand search pane going. There's so many different options. Rod makes the comment, he sent 8,000 cards to COMC at the last expo. So glad he did. They've been selling like crazy. I mean, great. It's the real deal. COMC is definitely the real deal. Sure. Al says he's completing mid-90 sets from COMC from cards that he had in boxes in his closet. So, I mean, that's the other thing, we buy boxes of cards over the years and we take the base, the hits, we put them away, we kind of forget about them. Right. And then you go back and you look and think, oh, that was a cool insert that I hit, but you only have 2 of the 20.
Right.
Well, what a better way to go fill those in. You need 18 cards. You can probably get them on COMC for under $1 each. And then the shipping will be what it is. The shipping has gone up in price, but it had to. I mean, and as for what it's at now, I know that if you're shipping to Canada, they have all the duties and all that are included in the price. So they at least get that kind of out of the way. Amit on COMC is New York. If anyone wants to see Amit's portfolio on COMC, look for New York. Roddy's is investment_sports cards, guys. If you're missing these, I'll kind of put them up again, but check out these guys' accounts on COMC. I know both of them have great cards on there. I've actually bought cards from both these guys on there and something from Amit just a couple months ago. I don't remember what it was right now, Amit. I know I told you at the time, but probably an Ovechkin from Fleer Retro or something like that. And here Al says he placed an order today, economy shipping $549 for 36 cards plus $10 in duty. Can't beat that compared to eBay. No, you can't beat that for 36 cards. 36 cards is going to cost you at least $100 to ship if you're doing eBay, buying them one at a time, right? So good point. All right, great. I'm glad we got to cover off a little bit of COMC. So let's go back in time now, man. We've covered off quite a bit of good content here, but I think, I always like to, when I talk to all the guests on the show, and this is the 10th episode again, pretty proud of that. I'm pretty excited to get to episode number 10 without, and the viewership's going up every time. So again, a humongous and a sincere thank you to everybody who's watching. Like, I don't often look right into the camera because here's me looking at the camera and there's me looking at the guest. So, but I want to just look at the camera and say, I really, really, really thank everybody who's watching, all the following on Instagram and the subscribers on YouTube, guys. I truly, truly appreciate it. I'm having so much fun with this. So just a sincere thank you to everybody. I don't want to get too emotional, so I'll cut it off there. But thanks again just for being a part of this. I actually say, the show's called Sports Cards Live, and the tagline is, where you're part of the show, because I really like to involve all the comments and get you guys interacting. So I just hope it's something that you're all enjoying and we can continue to enjoy together as the time goes by. Okay, back to Barrie. So let's get into it. I mentioned at the beginning of the show that we met at the National. We got to hang out with a few different guys. You made your way up to Toronto for an expo, and I actually have a few pictures here that go back in time, and I know a lot of the viewers will enjoy seeing these. So we're gonna bring up the share screen here. I'm gonna show some pictures, guys, that go back to 2008. Right? This is 2008. So there's a much younger Barrie and a much younger Jeremy from 2008. And there we are at a bar/pub right across from Wrigley Field where the Cubs were playing, and we were there hanging out after the game with the crew from Upper Deck and just having some munchies and waiting for the next stop of the night. Do you have any specific memories from the game or that night?
Yeah, I mean the game was fun. I think there was a lot more hanging out and chatting. We weren't all in our seats too much. It's probably a half and half split because everyone's mingling and kind of you're meeting new people or catching up with old friends, and so it was a good time. I was rapping with the usual suspects. Carvin, Almir was there, if people remember him from
the old Beckett editor. I think current Beckett editor again now. Yeah.
Chris Carlin, who's everywhere Upper Deck is always. He was there, and
Chris Barr from Panini was there as I believe. Barr, now with Panini, was there as well.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. All right, what do we have next picture? So this is actually a picture from the expo when Upper Deck held a round table. And in this picture, so there's Eli, who's watching the show right now. There's Carvin, who was my guest on episode number 2. There's Chris Carlin, who was my guest a couple Saturdays ago. This guy here it's just funny that we have this picture. This guy here, his name is John Waldman. And I actually know him. We're from the same hometown. And it made me pull out a book that I have that I thought I'd show everybody here. I'll show it after when I enlarge the screen. Let's do the pictures.
Chris Barr's back, the Flyers.
And that's Chris Barr's back, who's now with Panini. So that was pretty cool. And then that's you and Mike Giuseppe, who's a very strong contributor on the Hobby Insider message boards. And he's a
big breaker
of baseball and hockey, loves his cards. So that's you and Mike just outside the game. Who knows? I might have taken that picture for you.
Yeah.
Here's another one, you, Chris Barr and Carvin. And there's you and the man, Gordie Howe. He doesn't look too scared of the punch coming, though. He seems to be quite all right.
He's laughing at me. He's Gordie Howe.
Exactly. And there's my buddies from my buddy Adam's podcast again. All right. So back to you and me. I'm going to show this book now. So this is a book called Got 'em, Need 'em. And Barrie, you have some books too. Now is a good time.
Yeah.
Pull out the books. We're going to do a little bit of a book recommendation. Then we'll come back to the past. But this is a bunch of you guys have probably seen this. Got 'em, Need 'em. A fan's guide to collecting the top 100 sports cards of all time. Now it's written by Stephen LaRoche, who is a recent Beckett editor. Now I think he's freelancing and maybe doing some accounting courses on the side. And John Waldman, who is in that picture, who's someone that I pretty much grew up with in Winnipeg back in the day. So this is a great book. It's got full of like all sorts of color pictures. All sports are represented. So if anyone's looking for some reading material, check out Got 'em, Need 'em. Any books you had showed me earlier? Why don't you show a couple that you recommend?
I've got a few. This is it's not a sports card book, but it's a great book by Jack Falla. Home Ice, really, really good read.
Okay.
We got this one's a good one. You probably heard about. It's pretty controversial. By Patrick O'Sullivan.
Okay.
Breaking Away. It's a pretty heavy duty reading. He was pretty abused as a child.
Okay, interesting topic.
Yep. This one is a classic. Everyone loves this one. If you're a sports card guy, you got to read this book, man. This is like required reading in the sports card realm, I would say. It's an amazing read. It really is.
It's a page turner. It's a page turner for sure. I think I picked it up. That card's been out. It's at least 15 years old by now, maybe 20. And I remember purchasing it and reading it, and then reading it again probably 10 or 15 years later. More recently, definitely a good read. So,
and this one's a excellent one. While we're talking about baseball cards and investment and stuff like that, you guys will really enjoy this one. Mint condition. So, but there's a ton of great books out there, sports cards. I have one more, but my youngest son's actually has it right now. It's The Greatest Collection by Dr. Jeffrey Griffith.
Right.
That is an outstanding book, and if I can send a text and get it down here, I'll show the cover. But that is a magnificent book if you want to connect hockey and hockey card history. Jeffrey he's a great friend of mine, and he's an amazing writer. So
he actually wrote that book in conjunction with the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
he was actually going to do. He had a different concept at first, and then when he connected with the Hall of Fame, they kind of helped him kind of refocus the book, and that's what came out. He's also the guy that wrote the book Gretzky Cards. He's pretty well known as the #1 Gretzky collector in the world in terms of having like one of every card made up until around I think he stopped after 2011 or 2012. But he's got an amazing collection. Check out his books. He's got two. He's now got doctor in front of his name. Congratulations to Dr. Jeffrey Griffith. So definitely check that out. Lots of comments flowing in. Let's just see what we got here. PLJ is asking if you can show any highlights of your Kopitar collection. I did ask you to bring out a few cards. Did you bring any Kopitars to show?
Yeah, I actually didn't. We broke down pretty much most of the Kopitar collection and moved it off for baseball. So long story short, I'm a Kings fan, huge LA Kings fan. I grew up in LA. I kind of forced the Kings on my sons.
Yeah.
Like any good father would force them, right? But a few years back,
we are obligated to force our team on our children. We need to create fans of the teams we're fans of. So I support that. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no. So anyway, I got the pushback from the older one a few years ago, and he's like, I like Kopitar, but you know who I really like? I'm like, don't say it. He's like Crosby.
Oh, that's very expensive.
Yeah. So we started, moving Kopitar stuff off to reinvest into Crosby and, baseball. He's really big into baseball. And I think he makes a connection with it because he plays it. And I think we have a tendency to do that. Those of us that play sports, when you play a sport, you connect with it a little more. And, I played a lot of sports, but I played hockey well into my late 20s. So I've always loved it. I played baseball a ton growing up in Redondo Beach in Southern California. Southern California is a baseball mecca. So,
sure.
But yeah, I have some cards to show off. Sorry, they're not Kopitar.
It's not Kopitar. Let's just hold off for now. There's lots of comments to come to. I definitely want to see some cards, but let's just run through a bit of this here. The mayor is definitely in the house. Richie, always a pleasure to have you. Thank you, Jeremy. You're welcome. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brett. You're more than welcome. Oh, I keep killing it. Shows have been unreal. Thank you, Sam. Can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Congrats, Jeremy. Absolutely deserved and devoted to the hobby. Yes, I am definitely devoted to the hobby. If you don't know that by now, keep watching. It'll come through, I'm sure. Roddy, what do you say? You did such a great person for the hobby. Nothing but good things. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Awesome. That was Diamond Club at Mike Ditka's restaurant. That's where that one picture was, because Richie was at what would have been at the Diamond Club event. For sure. I saw
him in a couple pictures today when I was poking around. Like, there's the mayor before he was the mayor.
Yeah, exactly. Here he says, my kids will be Islander fans. No, they won't, Richie. No, they won't. They will be. And Andy says Jets or Flames. Now, I'm originally from Winnipeg. I live in Calgary now, but I left Winnipeg just after not just after the Jets left in 96. I left in 02, and then the Jets came back in 2011. So I'm a Flames fan, #1, and a Jets fan, second. And that gap has grown as the years have gone by, and I've become just more of a Flames fan myself. So, okay, back to your history. We keep getting sidetracked. That's just the way the show goes with so much interaction with the people watching. So back to your, I want to hear back, we started by talking about how we met at the National and we met online. What got you into cards in the very first place as a young kid yourself, before you had kids? What got you into cards?
I grew up Redondo Beach, California, Southern California, down by the beach. Baseball is king down there. Well, Dodgers and Lakers predominantly are king. I don't really remember one specific moment. There's a few moments though, but
what's your earliest memory of owning a card or buying a card?
Around 83, 84, I started breaking packs, and I want to say I think I actually got my first packs of cards back on the East Coast. My grandparents are from Connecticut on my mom's side, and I used to spend my summers there with them, or 2 or 3 weeks every summer. Darien, Connecticut, small town, and my both my grandparents were Mets fans, so that's where that got started. Sure. So we go down I-95, go to Shea, and I actually got to see the beginning of that old Mets team. I was 7, 8, going to see Strawberry as a rookie, Gooden as a rookie, and then they won in '86. But I think my grandpa took me to like a sports card place, and maybe it wasn't a card, whatever it was, and got me some packs, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then.
How did you first find, like, a lot, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook doing video now. It's come a long way from when we were on the Beckett boards in 2002, 2001, the early 2000s.
Right.
How did you first do you remember when you first found an outlet to share the hobby with other people? Now we can share it anywhere.
Online.
Phone out and you're sharing
in general. I mean, I think my youngest memories were like junior high. Me and my friends, we would go to the local shops. We'd walk there after school and buy wax and trade. And it was really cool. There was a guy that collected Eric Davis, I remember. Another guy collected Oral Hershiser, and I traded all those to them, for my dear old Strawberry cards or whoever I wanted. We all coveted the '86 Canseco rated rookie, right? That was a card, man, for a long time. I mean, when he hit 40-40 in '88. That card went, man, it went bananas.
I actually
87, man, right out of the gates, 49 bombs.
Yeah. Speaking of the Canseco card, in probably 1988, I told you this story last night when we were having a discussion. I actually, in 1988, guys, I'm sure some of you can identify with a story like this. So I used to go into Joe Daly's Sports Cards in Winnipeg in '88, '89, and his son Travis was working the shop with him. And I went in there one day and I traded for their Jose Canseco rookie card. Again, 1988. I traded them one of those in-dash car CD players that you would put in your dash your dashboard, when you actually back in the day when you got out of your car, you took your stereo with you, right? That.
Or the face. You pop
the face, right? The faceplate, the coolest face, the faceplate for what made you cool back then, right?
Right.
I traded them my in-dash car stereo for a Jose Canseco rookie card in 1988. I was 16 years old, so it might have been '89. Maybe I was 17. But yeah, that's that was way back then.
Well, it shows your passion for cards, right there.
Oh, I mean,
cards, man. You sacrifice the tunes.
Yeah, man. It's cards are definitely in my blood, 100%. Like so many of the people watching, like yourself too. I mean, and we do go in phases. We do. I haven't taken months off in years now. Where I can't remember the last time I didn't buy a card for a period of longer than say a week. It's probably been 10 years since I've done something like that. But we're all sort of in this hobby together. We all approach it differently, and that's what's awesome about it, is that there's room for everybody.
Right.
Getting kind of off the topic of kind of your history in the hobby. So you start out like most of us. You love your team. A grandfather, a father kind of helps you connect to those players.
And I don't know who's watching, but you never know. I used to go to Galaxy Comics, was my place in Redondo Beach, California. It was on Aviation Avenue. I used to go there, and I kind of got into. It's called comics, right? A lot of these places did start as comic stores, and sports cards actually eventually took the King of the Hill spot. But I used to dabble in comics too. This was back in the '80s, right? So I'd buy Transformer comics, G.I. Joe, all the things I associated with my toys at home that were cool, or my TV shows, just like the baseball cards I associate with the athletes and teams on TV, right? I mean, there's connections to everything. So that allowed me to branch off into other things. I was always a collector, collect my, like I said, my G.I. Joes, my comics, my cards. But staying on the card thing, yeah, man, I started with baseball, and then I got into hockey a little bit. And this was before Gretzky came to town. Like, this is the old Forum blue and gold Kings jerseys. And My dad would take me to the forum, and I remember we'd go to the forum club, which was like the little VIP area, and man, all the guys would come in there after the game, drink from both teams, and they'd all be ass slapping each other. It was great, man. And so I grew up around these guys, just seeing like larger than life. And Marcel Dion lived up the road from us, and then when Luc Robitaille came to the Kings, he moved in with Dion. So yeah, it was just cool. And then Gretzky came to town, and things went bananas, man. And I mean, if Gretzky doesn't go to the Kings, we don't have the Ducks, we don't have the Sharks, we don't have the Coyotes, we don't have the Dallas, we don't have that whole Southern Belt.
Yeah,
I mean, it's amazing what he did.
There's no doubt the impact he had on hockey in the U.S. and global growth. Hopefully now we can see the sport grow, across the pond and help our hobby and help the sport grow everywhere. Back to some more comments here. Peter says that Travis is still working with Joe. That's again Joe Daly, former NHLer, played for the Penguins, the Red Wings, the Winnipeg Jets, and the WHA. And every time I go to Winnipeg, or almost every time I go to Winnipeg, I go visit and say hi because I've known these guys since I was for more than half my life. Andy says, "Nice trade, Jeremy." Thanks, Andy. I'm still happy with that one. That Canseco rookie is long gone, but I did several years ago pick up a PSA 10 copy for I probably paid $80 or $90, and now in this recent market, the state of the hobby today, it's like a $350 card. So Richie knows a guy who can get my radio back, no questions. You're the mayor, you have pull. There's no doubt about that. Here's a question for you, Barry, from Richard. How do you set a budget for your boys when it comes to buying cards?
That's like, how do you say no to your kids, right? But yeah, no, I mean, you have to have a finite budget. So I've basically what it's come down to when collecting with my guys is I've just told them quality over quantity.
Right.
Now, on the flip side, COMC has been great for the quantity.
Right.
They've been able to fill the collection out there. You can have 500 or 600 cards, but have, 4 or 5 key ones. So, I basically, my older son, he does chores and stuff like any other kid, saves money up. And I definitely help. I think every parent's done that with their kids, whatever it may be. Kids have different interests, right? Some parents, they buy their kids horses, right? They want to be equestrian riders or do something. That's probably on the pricier side of things, but sure. Just things like that. You buy your kids toys, whatever they collect. Well, my boys have got a really big, interest in baseball cards, hockey cards. So, I just tell them, like, if you want a card, let's save up a little for it and just go for that. I always say it's better to have like 5 good cards. This is my opinion. This is what I tell them. 5 good cards than, 500 cheap ones. You'll appreciate them more. You can manage them a little better. You can kind of look, here's my 5 cards, right? But they're awesome cards. They are tremendous cards. They're not like,
right. As their father, it's on you to give them that advice and help steer them through life. So I commend you for that. I think, back to the whole COMC thing, you can find enjoyment in cheaper cards too. But I'm not saying go crazy and have a million of them, but you can also fill the gap, while you're saving up for that $100 card as a kid, in his early teens. While you're saving up for that, you can go spend 75 cents here and 59 cents there and fill in a set that you're still going to enjoy. Because even for me as a seasoned and mature collector, while I love the investment grade pieces in my collection because I just love the cards and the history behind them, and even some of the modern pieces, I also get off on low end cheaper cards too. Like I buy them all the time,
and that's awesome. And I see that a lot with them. And I was talking to one of my buddies the other day about it. I've seen my oldest son. He's grabbed a card and gravitated towards it, and he's like, "This is just awesome. I love it. I love the look of it. It's $2." And he'll be like, "I like it just as much as this $200 card." Cool.
Yeah.
Let's get the $2 card. And sometimes it is the $200 card. It just depends. But that's where I know it's pure for him, the joy of the hobby. He's looking at things aesthetically. He doesn't look at dollar figures. He truly does not. He knows like cards are expensive. He knows like Mike Trout's an expensive guy. Crosby's an expensive guy. So it's going to be few and far between the things we get, but he will appreciate them that much more. when he does get one.
Right.
And that's good. I think we're doing it right. So,
and that's a whole other show. That's parenting and raising your kids to value the dollar and value hard work and work for what you get and all that. I'm going to run through, just because we talked about kind of, how dedicated we are in the hobby. A couple of comments have come through from a couple of the viewers. So let's see what they say. Scott says he had to leave the hobby in 0405 when he lost his job. What a crappy year to take a break. Got back in about 08, 09 and haven't stopped since. Right? I mean, take break. I took a small break in the late 90s when I was just focusing on my university studies and that. So, I think everybody has a period where they haven't been in. And I think I'd be one of the last people to ever take a break in my lifetime. But even I took a break, Yeah,
I took a break when my second was born. It was just a lot, man.
Lots going on, right? Amit remembers when he was 7, would take all his cards, put them in sandwich bags, cover them in tinfoil. That's an interesting way. I don't think anyone's doing that anymore, Amit. Always knew they'd be worth something, and I'm flabbergasted they stayed in relatively good shape. Well, I'm sure you're not doing that with your cards anymore today, Amit, but hey, I like the outside the box thinking and ways to store your cards. I mean, it's a common theme on various platforms. People are always asking, hey, show pictures of how you how you store your cards, how you display your cards. And those are some of the most fun posts, whether it's on message boards or Facebook or Instagram. I love seeing how people consume the cards they already have,
It's informative for all of us. We learn from each other.
Exactly. And you find good ideas. Question from you, from my good buddy Darcy. Barrie, where were you and how did you take it when Gretzky came to the Kings? Do you remember when you found out? And I'll add to the question, when you found out about it, did you know that Gretzky was as big and good as he was?
Yeah, so I did know, because I even when I was younger, my dad was always a hockey fan, Kings fan. So we watched the Oilers and Islanders and all that on national TV. So I was well aware of who Wayne was. And but again, media was different then. Like, it was limited. Like, I really only saw him in those Cup finals, or if the Kings played the Oilers. Miracle on Manchester, baby. Never forget. Daryl. But I was, it was actually a few days after my birthday that year. So I'll never forget. I always say, it was a belated birthday present to me from the Kings. Right. I'm pretty sure I was at a buddy's house, I remember. And I don't know if it was like ESPN or local news or something broke about it. And they're like, Wayne Gretzky going. I'm like, what? And my buddy was kind of like, he wasn't a real big hockey guy. Most of my buddies were baseball, football, hardcore, basketball too, Lakers, obviously. But I was like, dude, Wayne Gretzky, man. Wayne frickin' Gretzky. I'm like, God on ice is coming to LA.
Yeah.
I can't believe I was so damn giddy, man. I was so giddy. And the Kings changed their jerseys that year too. The year he came, to that iconic chevron jersey, which I love. It's still my favorite. I mean, I love the old Forum ones, blue and gold, but that Chevy logo. And it was perfect, man. It was the greatest time to be a hockey fan in LA. I was so lucky and blessed to grow up in that area and that time period, where I can remember it all. And it was just.
So you have fond memories.
Darcy, it floored me, dude. It floored me. I was shocked.
It floored the whole country of Canada and every hockey fan in the world, for sure. Andy wants to know, does your Crosby son have Crosby's young gun in his collection?
So it's funny you say that. And I was telling someone about this the other day. I made a big trade the other day, and that was one of the cards that's coming back, is a Crosby young gun for him. I traded, ironically, a bunch of baseball to a buddy in LA he's kind of the middleman on it. I think it's like a 3-way deal here. I think he's getting one. He's given me one card, and then he's getting the Crosby from another guy. And so, and then he's kind of filtering the cards out that I'm sending along. So he will have one soon. So great question. And it's actually a BGS 9.5. So. Oh,
very nice.
Pretty excited. Yeah.
Amit says his kids will play with base cards. He's educating them on the differences and how cards are a bit play and a bit investment. Yeah, I mean, that's a great cards can be used as an instrument to educate your kids, not just to, read and look at the numbers on the back where there are stats on cards still, but also just to understand, investing. I mean, a lot of people don't like talking about investing when we talk about the hobby and collecting, but if you want to deny that it's a part of it, then you're just missing out on what's actually going on in the world around you and in this hobby, right? It's both. It's both go on, and both are more than allowed to happen. So it's something that we can use to educate our kids and teach them some pretty good life lessons. Richard, amen to the aesthetics, man. I mean, I love aesthetics. To me, if I don't like the looks of it, there's very few cards in my collection that I will own if I don't like the aesthetics. There are a couple I will, because I know that I recognize them as important cards. And it's actually tweaks a memory or a thought again in my head, is that the one card that I know is important that I just do not like the looks of is that alternative Michael Jordan rookie, the 84 star card that PSA won't grade it because it wasn't distributed through the a natural pack. It was a team pack or a team set that was handed out at games. I don't like the looks of those cards. I just find them ugly. So I'm not interested. Meanwhile, the 86 Fleer Jordan, I think, is a piece of artwork with the red, white, and blue borders, the Fleer logo in the top right corner, the image of him flying through the air is
in the red jersey. If you even want to get more detail oriented, that iconic red Bulls jersey.
Did they ever nail that card in terms of making it just so nice, so good? So yeah, aesthetics to me are first and foremost. And then comes the player and the importance of the card. But once in a while, if a card is super important and not that good looking, I'll add it anyway,
Yeah, for sure.
Here's another memory in 2001. I was dead broke looking for a job, and I'd buy one pack of hockey cards a week. What I like more than anything are lifelong friends I've made. I mean, that's a good segue, because one of the things I want to talk about with you, Barrie, tonight was, we touched on it earlier, just the experience that we shared together at National in Chicago, and then seeing you at the Expo and getting to hang out with you, having dinner, being at the show. It's one of the things I love to talk about on this show, on Sports Cards Live, because so many people watching are hungry right now to get to a card show, with Expo being canceled, National being canceled and now postponed, and likely to be canceled and postponed again. Like, the experiences that we get to have as collectors and the friendships that we make and the relationships that we make are
priceless.
I can look at my phone. I can look at all the contacts, all my friends on Facebook. I think more than half of my Facebook friends are people I only know through the hobby.
Yeah.
The big portion of my social life, of my friendships, are hobby friends. If I'm bored at night and I'm just going to make a phone call to shoot the poop with a buddy, I'm calling a hobby friend of mine. I'm not calling my old high school buddies. I'm calling my hobby friends.
Absolutely.
It's a great thing. So, Amit, thanks for bringing that up, because I can't say enough about how important that is. Adam asks a good question. Adam, are you Justin's brother? If you are, let me know. But he says, how does today's exposure media-wise to players affect their collectability? Well, we spoke about this earlier in the episode, right? I think Barrie pointed out that it's everywhere, right? The athletes they're cultural heroes, they're cultural icons. They're in front, any
endorsement, everything. They're plugged everywhere.
Right. Impressions, right? Eyeballs. There's impressions of athletes everywhere you look. You're probably wearing something on your body right now that is sponsored by an athlete one way or another. It's just right. There's the Jordan logo right there. So it's everywhere. I think it has a major part of it thing to do with it. Because it just stems from the fact that, first of all, these are players playing, they're representing our cities. They are looked at as heroes. Kids want to be like Mike. If you're watching The Last Dance now, we're being reminded heavily of Be Like Mike. Mm-hmm. And there's if you're going to see something over and over again, it's advertising. It's basic 101 advertising. That's what's happening here. Amit died when Gretzky was traded, and Amit doesn't even live in Edmonton, where he was traded from.
He died. I was born again.
Yeah, that's right. So many people were born again. Here, Peter, who is from Edmonton, remembers the trade like it was yesterday. I do too, man. I remember seeing Gretzky crying on TV, and it was heartbreaking. You know, as a Jets fan in Winnipeg, I mean, the Oilers beat us all the time, you know, but you still loved the guy somehow. And when he was traded, it was emotional for, I think, everybody in Canada, not just Oiler fans, not just hockey fans. Everybody was emotional about it. It was quite a, and it's the one event in sports that makes you realize that anybody can be traded at any time. You know, if Gretzky can be traded, why can't Sidney Crosby be traded?
You can, sure.
Right. I won't draw any parallels with basketball, because these guys just decide where they're playing and they go play there. Right. Trades are kind of like, you know, it's up to them. So I don't want to make a parallel there, but in hockey, it's definitely true.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Sure. And he says the trade was the worst thing ever at the time. With hindsight, it turned out to be the best trade ever for the league. Yeah, can't argue with that at all, right? Okay, so back to you and your collecting. So you had the opportunity and you can tell me around, I think it was the mid to late 2000s, you actually wrote a series of articles for Beckett magazine. Do you remember kind of what the articles were about, and when maybe some guys can go back and try and look for some of these articles?
Yeah, you know, I used to be a regular contributor, even in the mid 90s. One of my good buddies, Dave Slipka, he worked for Beckett, and he was in charge of a couple articles within the Hockey Mag, and so I did a lot of contributions with him, not necessarily writing articles. I did maybe a couple articles here and there for him, but the big ones I wrote, though, the two that stand out to me, I think one was, I believe it was 2005. It was right after Upper Deck got the exclusive. And I wrote a big, I mean, relative to Beckett, 3-4 page spread on the initial exclusive with Upper Deck. You know, I had quotes from Chris Carlin, Dr. Brian Price, various other collectors. You know, it's super big deal at the time, really big deal. So I was pretty proud of that article, because I mean, that was a landmark thing in trading card, specifically the hockey card segment, and it still is. I mean, it's a hot topic to this day, right? I mean, even now as I sit here, I'm going to tell you guys, till I'm blue in the face, like Upper Deck makes amazing cards. They have tremendous technology, but they would make better cards if there were another company involved. And I think Topps would be the perfect complement to them. Then the other, just to get back on topic though, the other article was I wrote that was probably my most recent article too. It was, I think it was like 2013. I wrote the cover story article for Beckett Baseball on Buster Posey, who was super hot at the time. The Giants were coming off their second World Series, I think, in 3 years title. And I think the title of the article I came up with was Ring Around the Posey. I know.
Hey, man, I like it.
But hey, it worked.
It's corny, but it worked. You know, it's a play on words.
Right. I mean, it's like those catchy titles that everyone does on a message board, right? When they want to show their card, shield your eyes.
Yeah, exactly. So, what about, you wrote any other ones you want to speak to quick?
I think there are a couple others, but those are the two that really stand out. Okay. Specifically the exclusive one. I was really proud of that article.
Great. And you know what? It's relevant to this day, right? Because I know card collectors, hockey card collectors specifically, because all card collectors, there's exclusives in all the sports right now. And I think everyone wants to know what goes on behind the scenes that causes these exclusive, what goes on behind the scenes that causes certain companies to win the exclusives and others not to. Is there politics? Is it just money? Or is it simply that the licensors just want to deal with one licensee and just keep their lives simple? It could be as simple as that, right?
I think it's a combination of money, familiarity, which comes into play with Upper Deck for hockey, Topps for baseball,
Panini now for basketball.
Right, absolutely. And then a little bit of politics. I mean, I think there's there is a certain amount of the good old boys club, right? I mean, a guy, like, he's done good things for you in the past, right? Like any business, right?
Just relationships, business relationships.
Like business. So exactly, right? Yeah,
hard to fault it. But yeah, so that article is still relevant to this day. I'd really enjoy giving it a read again. If anyone wants to read it, maybe we can somehow figure out what issue it was in and let people know where to go find that article, because written by Barrie Grice, my guest on episode 10 of Sports Cards Live. Yeah. I got a little excited. All right, back to I want to just address this. Adam says yes, he's Justin's brother. So these guys, Adam and his brother Justin, everybody, these guys are actually going to. We just decided today they're going to join me as co-guests, but not till probably early July. These guys, and don't worry, guys, I'm not going to say what it is, but these guys have amassed a collection of a specific type of card that is something that will blow everybody's mind. Like, I'm going to make sure the guys from Upper Deck are watching and that they see what I'm about to reveal to the hobby community, that these two brothers have focused hard. And when you want to talk about commitment to something awesome in the hobby, you're going to see something that will blow your mind, guys. So watch for that. I'll announce that eventually. We'll firm up a date. It'll probably be in early July.
Nice.
So excited, very excited about that episode. That's going to be really cool. Okay, I'm just scanning some more of the comments here. Will says he's saddened by the lack of real content on Space Jam in The Last Dance. Yeah, they only touched on it. But I will say, I watched episodes 7 and 8 last Monday night. So it's premiering, or it's airing on ESPN and Netflix on Sundays. But up here in Canada, I'm not, for some reason, maybe I just don't know how to do it. I can't see it on Netflix until the next day, until Monday. So we're watching them on Monday. And Monday night's episodes, my wife and I watched them and thoroughly enjoyed them. I thought they were easily the best two so far, and I'm looking forward to the next two for sure. Can't wait for the final two. And then I'm going to be sad that it's over. Really. Yeah. Here's a question from Adam, who I was just talking about. What's our sleeper pick in all sports cards? I don't think Tiger Woods has reached the peak. Barry, you start. Do you have a sleeper pick right now?
Yeah, there's a couple. I'm going to say one that's kind of high end and one that's low. Actually, the 2000, I think he's referring to the 2000 Tiger Woods SP Authentic. That's actually one I've been kind of watching. It spiked after the Masters last year. And I was so kicking myself. That's kicking myself. I was watching two of them, man. I could have had for the price of one after that damn thing. But that said, I think there's still a lot of room for him. Tiger's really got himself back in shape. He's got his game back together. He looks sharp, and he's Tiger Woods, man. He's like Michael Jordan. He's a transcendent figure. So I would agree that's my high-end one. One I'm watching, I've told this to you the last couple of days. It's not an expensive card, but Chipper Jones, 1991 Topps. I was another one. I'm kicking myself on this. I could have had this card for $30 2 weeks ago, and I twiddled my thumbs, and I got cheap, man. I admit I got cheap. Like, I tried to negotiate, 32, 34. I tried to be cute, and I didn't just bite the 37. And guess what? I can't get the damn thing right now for under like $50, $52. Yeah. Just in 2 weeks, it's rising. And that's a significant percentage for a card that's $30. Now it's over 50.
Right. And what about his Upper Deck card as an alternative? I remember.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I mean, it's like Upper Deck with hockey, Topps with baseball. It's that lineage, man. I like Topps especially for baseball. I love Topps, and if I can get a top, if it's Topps for pretty much baseball, basketball, football from the 80s and back, you got to go Topps, man. I mean, that's all really your only option. And
just like O-Pee-Chee in hockey or Fleer in basketball.
But yeah, 1991 Topps Chipper Jones, I think's kind of a sleeper, man. But there's a lot of them, like Brian Gray was saying. There's a lot of them. He's buying up those Jerry Rices. So I'd put that Jerry Rice in there too as a.
Yeah, but the thing about that is that with Brian Gray, he's buying them all. He said you're not going to be able to buy them because he's going to outbid you. So anything that he's buying is unfortunately not a sleeper anymore. So we might, whatever we say here might be something that we turn him on to buying. So my pick, my biggest sleeper, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, Mario Lemieux's rookie card. If you have like $1,000 US to invest, PSA 9, I mean, a PSA 8 sold yesterday or the day before for like over $500 US. That's the most I've ever seen. Now, this was a beautifully centered copy.
And you're talking O-Pee-Chee, right?
I'm talking O-Pee-Chee. Let me be clear. I'm talking O-Pee-Chee. That brings up another good point, though. A couple years ago, I decided, you know what? I have a PSA 9 Lemieux in my collection, O-Pee-Chee, and I have a PSA 8 Wayne Gretzky in my collection. I can't afford a PSA 9 O-Pee-Chee Gretzky. That was like $35,000. And I'm not going to go buy a Mario Lemieux PSA 10 O-Pee-Chee because it was like at the time $18,000 USD. So I thought to myself, well, hey, maybe I'll go buy a Topps PSA 10 Lemieux and a Topps PSA 9 Gretzky. I think this was either 2 or 3 years ago, spring. And I ended up buying both. And boy, am I glad I did, because both of those cards have like tripled in value since I bought them. So that said, you know, to Adam's question, for me, my sleeper pick, even though he's commonly thought of as the second best player of of recent time, or one of the greatest of all time, you know, he was second best to Gretzky during the Gretzky era. That's inarguable. I think he's still a bargain. I do. So is it a sleeper pick? It's kind of hard to say it's a sleeper pick, but that's definitely my pick. Another pick I might have, and this is one I want to think about more before I really commit to this, but it comes up because Barrie mentioned Topps. You know, there are some in hockey, some Topps cards that might be good buys, like the Gretzkys, the Lemieux, the key guys, the Patrick Roys, the Mark Messiers, you know, the unscratched Mark Messiers. But if you're talking about all sports, I mean, it seems like everybody's on all the good stuff right now. If it's a good card of a good player, people are snapping them up right now, and prices are going up right now. So right now, I don't know what sleepers are really left. I'd have to scour the rosters and scour the lists to really come up with what I would be comfortable, you know, getting behind. So sorry, I can't really get more than that on the spot, but there's definitely more out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to be had right now.
For sure. Brett clarifies here: Netflix US Sunday, Netflix Canada Monday. I'm okay waiting that extra day for the show. It's worth the wait, and it's something that we end up doing. This is a good one here, Andy. Where did it go? These comments kind of move on me sometimes, so I'm a little bit all over. Just pay $60. Just do it. I think he's talking about your Chipper Jones card.
No, and that's what it's going to probably cost me by tomorrow. So I probably
Rye, who was my guest last Wednesday, I believe, he has both Tiger SP autos and Chipper Jones available. Karn Rye runs a Facebook group and Instagram account called The Big Three. Check it out. Check out my show with him, Sports Cards Live. I forget what episode number it was, but that was, I think, last Wednesday. So check out that episode where we get into a lot of discussion about what he's up to. Lots of good stuff there. Here's something you might appreciate, Barrie, because you know the non-hockey market. Tyler says he's been picking up, and this, you know, he's been picking up Tom Brady silver prisms, thinks they're undervalued at the moment. I mean, I'm watching silver prisms in all sports, and they seem to be picking up. So if they're still undervalued, there's a good potential. Silver prisms are like the chrome version of the base cards in Prizm, and in basketball and football, they have recently become majorly important cards, like the most important cards of the players. But what's even happening more, which is reminding me of the days in the 80s when second-year cards were important cards of players. Like you wanted the Gretzky rookie, the Lemieux rookie, and the Cal Ripken Jr. rookie, but you also wanted their second-year card because that was important too. Nowadays, what we're seeing very recently is that all-year cards, all-year base card silver prisms, and gold prisms out of 10 even more so, are becoming chased in a major way by collectors in all sports that have Prizm. So it may be undervalued right now, Tyler, Barrie, everybody else, but how long is that going to go for? I mean, that might expire by the end of this show. That might expire by this Saturday. Like people are on those already from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Jason asks, what's the best Ripken Jr. rookie card? The Topps? Yeah, I mean, so Barrie, you know, like Ripken's he's got that. I think it's the 82 Topps update where it's 3 players on the card.
Yeah,
and it's not really a nice card to look at, in my opinion.
Not aesthetically pleasing.
It's not aesthetically pleasing, but his second year card it's like 52 Mantle-esque. It's him in with a nice, beautiful green and blue background. He's in batter's pose. It's an amazingly pleasing card, but it's not his rookie card. But now I'll just let you know, as a collector of Hall of Fame rookies, I I had to decide when I bought my Ripken several years ago, which card was I going for?
Right.
I went for the second year card. I don't have the 3-way card because it's not something I want to look at.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to really go terribly wrong with either. The first true one's always going to be a little bit higher value. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast, right?
Right. It's the nature of the hobby.
There's a lot of that in baseball too. Those extended rookies. We talked about my guy Darryl Strawberry, 83, but everyone remembers the 84 Strawberry cards, right? And
right.
I think Gooden, no, not Gooden, Puckett and Clemens, they had Fleer updates that were super, super hot in 84. But now I think people gravitate towards the 85.
Yeah. And speaking of like these, like the Ripken, like the second year card, that's so much nicer than the true rookie card. The same thing goes for Nolan Ryan, right? His rookie card is shared with Jerry Koosman, but his second year card, the 69 Nolan Ryan, is actually a way nicer card, way cooler, and it's the card that Topps Project 2020 is using for their Nolan Ryan card, right? And another one comes to mind, same concept, the Pete Rose rookie, the 63 Topps Pete Rose. Now, this card, when you first look at it, you think, man, that's some amateur stuff going on there. But as you grow to appreciate the time that card came out and how awesome it really is, like when I chose my Pete Rose card for my collection, even though he's not a Hall of Famer, I decided this is a rare case where I'm going to buy both cards because his second year card, his 64 Topps, it was just an what they called the All-Star Rookies, I think they're called, with that special logo. A beautiful card. Stunning card. But that 63 Topps with the 4 heads that look like they're floating in thin air. I love both. So that's one of
it's got a charm. It's one of those things that's got a charm to it.
It's got its charm. It's got its place.
It's got a history, right? It's these cards, man, they're all history. It's like Jeffrey Griffith's book, it's history through cards.
Yeah, agree. Chris says, isn't the Donruss the Ripken to get? Not for me. For me, it's the 83 Topps is the one to get.
Topps. And if you guys read Card Sharks, you'll find a lot of interesting tidbits in there about Fleer and Donruss and Topps and the infancy. There's a lot of card history in there. It's a really good read for you guys. A lot of people think it's just unloading on Upper Deck. It's really not. It's really just a small bit of that at the tail end, really. It's a really good, solid hobby read.
You know what? And if nothing else, companies and people change over the decades, and that book does chronicle something that happened 30 years ago, for the most part. Like in terms of the Upper Deck French thing, it's a 30-year-old story, and you can't really hold anything negative in that book against the current company. The owners, the original owner's not even alive anymore to run it. So, it's being run by professionals now, if you will, not really hobbyists. And although I'm saying at the top, right, there are still hobbyists and real enthusiastic hobbyists in the hobby to this day, designing those sets and running the marketing and running the merchandise. It's a great group of people they have at Upper Deck. I don't. A lot of people will like to express their what they don't like about the companies, and what they do like about the companies. I know that I like all the companies. I like everybody out there. Like I see the good in what a lot of people are doing. I don't like scammers. I don't like fraud. None of that. And I'm not saying that's happening at the card companies, but it happens in the hobby. But I mean, all the companies are bringing something to the table. They all have their niche, and they're all trying to pay the bills and feed their families. So it's tough to really rag on them too much. So the book, Card Sharks, which is a really interesting read, and I highly recommend it. I just don't think that if you're going to read it, that you might not want to sort of apply some of the feelings you may get from it to the current state of the hobby.
For sure. It's a different era, what's that?
A fair comment?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it would be like, someone did something 15 years ago, right? And
right.
Grudge. I mean, come on, man.
It's different people, different company altogether by now, right? It's like we regenerate our skin cells every 7 years, right? Employees turn over,
literally.
Leadership turns over, right? Yeah. Just want to show. So there was more talk about which Donruss is the one to get. Rich says the 82 tops traded, which I think is the 3-way card. And I don't know. It must be the 80. Is the solo card the 83 tops? Andy says it's a tops traded as well because he's solo. I forget which actual one it is, but it's very easy to determine which is which. So. Okay. Amit has the Tiger as well. Mookie Betts, no hobby love. Another, you know what, back to the whole thing about, sleeper cards, people who are not yet in the Hall of Fame that are going to get there. An example would have that you might not expect to get there or that are not shoe-ins. A good example is Larry Walker, who was just recently inducted last year. Yeah. And he wasn't a guarantee. It took a lot of people by surprise.
10th year on the ballot. I mean, it was it was now or never. If he didn't get in this time, he was done. He was out.
So everybody who's doing the Hall of Fame collection, whether it's on the PSA set registry or just the Hall of Fame collection, all of a sudden this card was placed on their want list. All of a sudden. So they're all clamoring to get it. Like guys like that. If you're looking for some potential sleepers, you got to pick out the guys who are on the verge of Hall of Fame. You might have to take some gamble. You might gamble a bit on some guys that might not get there. Pete Rose might be a gamble. If he gets in, I mean, his cards are already valuable, but if he gets in one day, those cards are going to go up in value.
Hand of money.
And McGuire and Sosa and Bonds, all the steroid era guys too.
Those are the ones, if you want to talk in that respect, those are the ones I'd be watching, man, because, I'll be honest, like even more so Bonds, he was never officially caught. People have to remember that it's been insinuated that he cheated. This was all way after the fact, long after his career was over. He was never actually caught with PEDs during his playing years. Never tested positive. None of that. Guys like Clemens were, or caught under oath, or McGuire. But Bonds still. So technically, I mean,
if any of these guys get in, if they start looking at steroid era guys, and some of these voters decide they're worthy, those cards are going to shoot up in value. Okay, I'm going to race through a few of the comments. We are getting to end the show. We want to do some giveaways. I've got another sort of tip for everybody out there in this to use in your hobby. So I'm just going to run through here. Richard says, I think we're in a temporary bubble. I would say it's time to sell rather than buy. All the hot early 2000 young guns are going crazy. Well, my response to that is watch my show with Brian Gray from Saturday and see what he says, because he thinks we're only at the beginning. And if you rewind back to the beginning of this show when we were talking about Topps Project 2020 and how I believe it's exposing 500,000 new people to our hobby just through these artists and their followers on all their social platforms. I don't know, Richard, if I agree with that. I don't know. I'm not saying I disagree. I just don't know. Time will tell. I'm usually wrong on these things anyway, so I'll let time determine and just continue to collect as I otherwise would for the most part. Comment, Barry, on that?
I mean, I'm going to say, I think Richard, I know you're predominantly, I know you well, Richard, good dude. I know you're predominantly hockey. I don't know how much you dabble in the other sports. So, I mean, I guess from a hockey perspective, hockey is, I mean, he'd say it's the weakest of the four sports.
It is 100%.
It is. I'm sorry, guys. It is.
There's no need to apologize, man. It is what it is. It's
I'm a baseball and hockey guy. Those are my two favorites. And opposite ends of the spectrum. Well, actually, basketball is probably top dog. But yeah, I don't know. If you're looking at a hockey perspective, Rich, maybe hockey. I mean, hockey, but it's it is what it is right now.
It's tough to say, man. If we're in a bubble, then
right. I mean, if we all knew, we'd be like Biff and Back to the Future, man, with the the sport guide, and we'd all be bets, and
we'd have the almanac. Exactly. Okay. Amit says when COVID ends and attention spans dwindle or drift elsewhere, that maybe that will be the time to get those nice sleepers. Yeah, could be. I mean, who knows what's going to happen when the world goes back to normal, how long that's going to take, and where the hobby dollars will go. Would Tom Brady's Bowman Chrome be considered a sleeper still? No. I'm going to say no to that because I was watching that card about a year and a half ago. PSA 10 was doing like, and I'm sorry, I always refer to PSA 10. That's just what I go for usually. But PSA 10s were selling for like $1,300 to $1,400. I last looked, they're encroaching on $3,000 now. So I don't think it's a sleeper anymore. It's experienced the same thing that all these other key cards have experienced recently. Amit says all colors of the color wheel are hot right now, like orange polka dot variants as well. Yeah, of course. Cracked ice hockey was hot, but no love now. Again, more of a Prizm style card.
Sure.
Will Ripken Jr.'s record of consecutive games played ever be broken? How should this be valued in the hobby? I'm just going to hit this one quick, Barry. I don't know if it'll ever be broken. Probably not, because players are just much more into their long-term health now than they ever were before, and their conditioning. So I don't think it'll be broken. How should it be valued in the hobby? Unfortunately, the hobby they want to see home run hitters and Hall of Famers. Good hitters, Hall of Famers. That's what sells, just like goal scorers in hockey and quarterbacks in football, right? And of course, basketball, it's all about the guys that get the points. The defensive players just never get the love unless you're a hardcore player collector or a team collector. I'm not going to hit that one. Undervalued Big Pappy. Fair enough. Fair enough. Nolan Ryan is a god. So are you, Mayor. So are you. Palmero, Rich says, is possibly a good buy right now. Okay.
He puts on that steroid thing.
All right. So listen, we've covered off a lot of stuff here, Barry. We're at the hour 45 mark. So we're getting to the point where I want to start winding this thing down. You have a few things you want to do some giveaways. So we talked about how we can do that. We're going to basically do a little trivia question. Whoever gets the comment in fastest that is already subscribed to the YouTube channel for Sports Cards Live and made a comment on one of the videos on the channel, because comments help pump the channel up and just get more exposure, more viewers, which I'm just, because it's just something that's fun to do and fun to get. So it's great for the channel, great for the show, keeps me encouraged and motivated. So if you guys can subscribe to the YouTube channel, Sports Cards Live, super easy to find, make a comment on a video, and then in a couple minutes after my next tip on collecting, we'll then open it up for the trivia. Fair, Barry? Good?
Good.
Okay. So guys, I showed you this stuff before, the Maguire Scratch 2.0, which I'm super glad I found. A lot of people have already messaged me on Instagram and Facebook and said, man, that stuff's like magic. So thank you. So happy to help out. Here's my next piece of help for you guys. So when you are, when you're opening up your cards, and you see this all the time on breaker channels. First of all, the one thing I hate the most about breakers, it's not all of them, but the ones that do this, is they take the card out and they get their fingers right on the card like this. I mean, if I'm buying a card, I don't want anyone's fingers on that card at any time. When I see a breaker put their fingers on the face of a card, I will not do business with that breaker. I'm putting that out to all of you, breakers and all. When they touch the card on the surface, it tells me not to do business with them. That's the first thing. The second thing is when you're putting your cards in, and this is really the tip I'm getting at here for you guys. And this is a tip that I didn't invent myself. This was actually told to me by Charlie from Beckett Grading, probably at a summit show in Edmonton in like 2012 or something back then. So I've been doing this ever since. He saw me taking cards and putting them into card sleeves like this. Like that, okay? The way we all do it. We take the card, we open it up, we put it in the corner, and then we slide the rest of it in. And he said to me, don't you flick your corners? I said, what are you talking about? He goes, well, I mean, that's the reason why people don't get anything better than a 9 or a 9.5 on corners, is because the way they put the card into the sleeve, into the card sleeve. So all you do is you take the sleeve, you kind of open it like this. You put your fingers inside. Hopefully you guys can see this. You put your fingers inside and you flick out the corner. You just flick out the corner and you basically separate it a little bit. I don't know if you can you see that? You basically open it a little bit. So now when you put the card in, you put it in and it slides right in. There's no resistance or friction. You're not rubbing that edge of the corner against anything because you've opened it up at the top. And then you slide it in. You don't have to touch the surface of a card ever. You never have to touch the surface of your card. If you're a breaker, if you're a collector, if you're buying singles, trading singles, whatever, don't touch the freaking surfaces of your cards, people, especially if you're going to sell them to other people. It's just rude and irresponsible. Don't touch the surface of your card. I'm not gonna. That's it. Okay. Second thing, flick your corners. It's easy. You just open it up, put your fingers in, and flick like that. Just flick it. Open it up, just at the top, just at the corner, and then you put the card in, and it slides in like magic. You're not going to damage your card if you put them into your sleeves that way. Flick your corners and don't touch the surface of your cards, or I'm not going to do business with you. And I'm going to tell people not to do business with you because you are basically putting the oil in your fingers and your fingerprints on your cards. And if people are going to grade them, which many people do now, they will be penalized on the grade. Okay. I hope that was clear. I hope you can see how strongly I feel about this. That's my tip for this show. Episode number 10. Very happy to get here. Sports Cards Live. Super happy to have Barrie on the show with me. So we've given you guys some time now to go subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave a comment on any video just to help the channel out. I really appreciate it. Now we're gonna do a giveaway. Barrie, why don't you actually, we kind of showed earlier before the show started, Barrie showed me a few options. So we selected 2 autographed 8x10s that he has, and the winner is going to select one of them, and Barrie's going to ship it out to the winner. So let's show what the options are for the winner, Barrie.
Sure. You know, we didn't even talk about the Mike Trout factor.
The which?
The Mike Trout thing.
I know. We spent a lot of time on the state of the hobby. Well, we'll have to get to it another time. So here, Barrie is offering up your choice of a Luc Robitaille autographed 8x10 in LA Kings uniform. We're very generous, Barrie. And a Brett Hall autographed 8x10 Dallas Stars jersey. So those are the options. We're going to give away one of these to somebody who is going to answer our trivia question, which I have to admit, we don't have the trivia question ready to rock and roll here, but we should have it.
I have it ready.
You have the question ready?
One of them ready. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Let's put the question out there, and then we're going to put it out to the comments. I'm going to let you guys know if you're watching on YouTube, you have an advantage because everybody watching on Facebook is on a 10-second delay. So that's just the way the show goes. If you're watching on Facebook, you're delayed 10 seconds. So sorry for your luck, but the YouTube guys are going to have a better shot, and maybe later on, you guys might want to watch on YouTube just to get that 10-second advantage. But Barrie, why don't you pose the question, and then I'll start watching the comments. You're going to have to somehow, actually, Barrie, you're going to have to tell me what the answer to the question is, unless I'm going to know it already.
Yeah, I mean, you want me to just text it to you, or
text it to me? Text it to me right now, please. Or put the, you know what? Never mind. Put the question out there to the people, and then text me the answer.
Okay. All right. So, what is the card number? One of my favorite players is all-time Barrie Bonds. What is his 1987 Fleer card number in the set?
Okay, guys. So I'm just going to reiterate. Barrie Bonds 1987 Fleer. What card number is on the back of that card? The first person to get it is going to win one of the autograph 8x10s that Barrie just showed. We do not have a right answer yet. Jason is wrong. Troy is wrong. They're all going to eBay right now, Barrie, and searching for it. And that's okay.
That's fine.
There we go. We have our winner, Carlos. No, sorry, Carlos. The winner, there's your winner. That was the first one to get it right, which I think is Richard still. Oh, it is Richard. He went to YouTube. That's Richard Ho. He went to YouTube because I said it and got the win. Well done, Richard. You win. You can send a message to Barrie on Hobby Insider, and he will send your choice.
Whichever one you want, man.
Yeah, he'll send out whichever one you want to. And I know Richard is a monster autograph collector, so going to a good home, very much. I'm sure he very much appreciates it. Congratulations, Richard. Barrie, do you want to do another one?
Yeah. So here, hang on one sec. Let me just grab this. All right.
I'm not going to say the obvious there, everybody.
What's that?
Crotch shot. I'm just not going to.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
So this one's brought to you by Topps. Topps is kind enough to send me a box of oh, here we go. I keep forgetting the light.
20 Series 1 baseball.
Yep. So you know, I'd like to try and split the box so 2 people can have it. And the first person who wins, you can pick like however you want me to divvy up the packs. If you really want me to,
no, just go
half and half. Yeah,
left side,
left, right. Yeah,
left side, right side. So the
all
first.
Right. So
hold on, Barry. Hold on. The person who gets the answer right the first time can pick right or left, and whoever gets it right the second person will get the other side of the box, and Barry will ship those out to you. So, all right, what's the next question, Barry? If anyone wants to go to YouTube now's the time. You'll be 10 seconds ahead.
So this one, someone's going to have to look for this one. And we did a baseball card for a hockey prize. So let's do a hockey card for a baseball prize.
I love it. I love it.
What is the only card that Wayne Gretzky has publicly stated he will not sign? There's one signed copy. He signed it for his daughter, I think Paulina, his oldest. Does anyone know?
Text me the answer, because I would have said his rookie card, but I know that's not true because I have a copy of it.
It's not the rookie.
Send me the answer, please.
Yep.
Just reading through some of the comments here, guys. Yeah, Andy caught it too. Terry's YouTube is always behind. Can't tell you why, Terry. Maybe you'll be more of an advantage to stay on Facebook and watch then. Oh, we have a couple answers. That could be it. I don't know. Waiting for the for Barry's text here to tell me what the answer is. Are you sure it's that? Are you sure that's the one? It's not the other one?
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. Oh,
it's the first one.
The first one. Got it. Okay.
I've got a picture of it.
Yeah, I see it. We do have a winner. I'm going to go find the winner. The answer.
Oh, wow.
Barry sent it to me. I'll show. It is Wayne Gretzky's 1988 Topps card where he's holding the sweater. I was not aware of that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So that's the card. And the winner of that, the first person who got that answer in was, just scrolling through, Peter Chow got in just before Troy Collins. Peter Chow, who is on Hobby Insider, I believe is Pac-Man. So again, contact Barry through, so Peter wins and Troy would get the other side because Troy came in second.
Okay. You want to do it that way? Yeah.
Peter, if you want to pick the right or the left side, Barry will send those out to you, and Troy Collins will get the other side of those packs. Okay. Guys, expect some awesome packs of Topps baseball in the mail from Barry in the near future. And he is shipping from Colorado, so it could take a bit longer to get if you're up in Canada, but there you go. Okay. So I think that's going to wrap it up pretty much.
Figured it was good to end with a Topps hockey card of Gretzky.
Yeah.
See how I played that?
I like. Oh, you got the Topps hat on now. Awesome.
Stats too, real stealth.
Right on. Well, listen, Barry. I want to thank you for giving away product from your own personal holdings to the.
Topps sent me that. That was nice of Topps. So
yeah, that was nice of Topps. So thank you to Topps for sending you the product to give away on Sports Cards Live. You appreciate it. I appreciate it. The winner appreciates it. Thank you, Barry, for just joining me for the discussion. It's been a pleasure having you for the 10th episode of this show, which I'm super stoked to get to episode 10. Yeah. So I'll run through again this Saturday, Tim Getch from COMC. Next Wednesday, Stefan Perot. The Saturday after that is Dr. Brian Price, and then a lot of awesome shows coming after that. Again, still, guys, I'm booking into mid-June right now with guests. You know, that wasn't the original direction of the show, but it's just the way this thing has gone, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying the interacting with everybody that's watching. So, again, thank you all for tuning in to the 10th episode of Sports Cards Live. Watch for my posts and advertisements for the upcoming shows. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you haven't yet. I don't know what you're doing, but please do it. Really appreciate it. And we will sign off. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you again on Saturday with Tim Getch from COMC. Thanks again, Barry. Everyone have a great night.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.